Hello everyone, and welcome to another soothing episode of True Scary Stories to help you fall asleep. As you settle in, prepare to embark on a journey through a collection of remastered true scary stories. These tales are carefully selected to both intrigue and relax you, ensuring a peaceful night's sleep. I was around 10 or 11 years old, exploring the woods behind my grandpa's ranch with my two cousins. It was a bright day, just after lunch, and we were up to the kind of mischief kids typically get into. Our chosen pastime, poking a deceased cat with sticks. As grotesque as it sounds, it was the sort of morbid fascination that kids sometimes have. And then it happened. We caught sight of something that defied any explanation. An alien, perhaps, or some kind of monstrous being. I still struggle to put it into words. This entity was an eerie shade of white, with these enormous, otherworldly eyes. When it noticed us, it tilted its head slightly to the side, as if studying us. The terror that gripped me in that moment was unlike anything I had ever experienced. I couldn't get a good look at it. My only instinct was to scream and flee for my life. My cousins reacted the same way. We dashed back to the ranch, tears streaming down our faces, and voices strained from screaming. My uncle, a pragmatic man, grabbed his shotgun and, in a bid to calm us, demanded that we take him to where we had encountered this creature. I was reluctant to return, as was my younger cousin, but the older one agreed on the condition that he could carry a shotgun as well. So they ventured back into the woods with us in tow. Of course, when we reached the spot, the creature had vanished without a trace. To this day, no one believes our account of the encounter. My uncle insists that we must have seen some sort of animal, but I know deep down that what we witnessed was unlike any earthly creature. It didn't resemble the stereotypical gray aliens often depicted in popular culture. Instead, its head had an almost triangular shape, with round, piercing eyes. It was roughly the size of a small child, and all I could discern was its head and a strange elongated neck or torso. I can't put a name to what we saw that day, and even now, the memory sends shivers down my spine. It's an experience that remains etched in my mind, defying explanation or rationality. I spent my early childhood in a remote countryside setting. One warm summer evening, when I was just a 4-year-old, I was outside with my dad. We were enjoying the tranquility of the rural landscape when we suddenly heard an eerie noise emanating from the nearby trees. It was a sound that sent a shiver down my spine. Without warning, an enormous, dark, winged creature gracefully descended from the sky and perched itself on the clothesline pole. The sheer size of this creature was astounding, even more so when compared to my diminutive 4-year-old frame. It was a great horned owl, and it dwarfed me. The owl remained incredibly still, fixating its large, round, yellow eyes on my dad and me. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared back at those intense, unblinking eyes. Then, out of nowhere, it let out a thunderous hoo-oo-tee and flapped its colossal wings with incredible force. The sudden and unexpected display sent me into a frenzy of fear. My dad wasted no time in whisking me away to the safety of our home. Throughout that harrowing night, the owl continued its eerie hooting from the depths of the nearby woods. I huddled beneath my covers, clutching a flashlight and a toy sword, too petrified to peer out into the darkness. For several days following that spine-chilling encounter, I couldn't muster the courage to venture outdoors or even approach a window. The memory of that owl's menacing presence haunted my childhood dreams. Nestled in a charming farmhouse, my home is a serene sanctuary, surrounded by sprawling farm fields that extend as far as the eye can see, with the nearest neighbor residing over half a mile away. Seclusion is a hallmark of our rural abode. One bright day, while strolling around the yard with my faithful dog, an unexpected encounter sent shivers down my spine. Out of the cornfield behind me emerged a colossal presence, its heavy footfalls sending tremors through the earth. It was as if a behemoth had come to life, and before I could fully comprehend the situation, A deafening cry pierced the air. Panic momentarily seized my heart as I envisioned a scene right out of Jurassic Park. But in the blink of an eye, the mystery unraveled itself. It was none other than a majestic crane, its imposing figure having taken me utterly by surprise. Yet, the countryside has its own enigmatic rhythms that never cease to baffle. Occasionally, in the dead of night, a startling phenomenon unfolds. A group of deer, seemingly driven by some inexplicable compulsion, will converge upon the large window downstairs in the living room. With an uncanny force, they repeatedly engage in what can only be described as headbutting, creating an eerie symphony of startling thuds. These nocturnal occurrences, though inexplicable, have become a part of the fabric of our tranquil farmhouse life. Nestled amidst the pristine wilderness of Montana and Wyoming, I embarked on an unforgettable journey with my cousin, who served with the Forest Service, specializing in hydrology. Her mission was to test the region's streams and snow runoff for contaminants, a venture that promised breathtaking landscapes and an adventure like no other. Our preparations complete, we set out on this unique exploration, camping in the heart of nature for 2 nights. The first day and night passed in sheer wonderment, surrounded by the grandeur of untouched beauty. Crisp air filled our lungs as we reveled in the serenity of this untamed realm, a place I yearned to revisit time and again. The dawn of the second day unveiled a mysterious twist to our expedition. My cousin beckoned me with an enigmatic proposition. "Would you like to see something unusual?" My curiosity piqued. I eagerly accepted her invitation. We veered from our intended path, riding into the heart of a little-known ravine, a departure from our planned course that added an extra 2 hours to our journey. In the depths of this rugged terrain, she signaled for us to dismount. We tethered our horses in a picturesque clearing, where nature's beauty seemed to have frozen in time. Intrigued, she led me along a narrow wildlife trail and handed me a small rechargeable radio. It was a versatile device, capable of being powered through a plug or by winding, doubling as a lantern in times of need. She guided me towards a peculiar sight, an inconspicuous coil of wire protruding from the earth in the middle of nowhere. This wasn't the massive transmission wire one might expect, but rather resembled the wiring found in typical households, around 10 to 12 gauge. It meandered through the underbrush and trees, its rope defying logic. Driven by curiosity, I ventured deeper into the woods, tracing the wire's path as my cousin followed closely behind. The wire, after emerging from the ground, wound its way through the forest, looping around rocks and snaking through the trees until it terminated abruptly at an outlet. This outlet was mounted on the side of a desk that seemed to have materialized out of thin air. The desk appeared reminiscent of those I recalled from my school days, with a metallic base and a synthetic wood-like top. Bafflingly, it stood alone, devoid of any accompanying chair, building, or semblance of human presence. My confusion deepened as I gazed upon this inexplicable anomaly in the heart of the wilderness. As I grappled with this surreal spectacle, my cousin took charge. She removed the cord from the radio, plugged it into the outlet, and switched the device on. To our amazement, the radio sprang to life, filling the forest with a cacophony of static. The wire, we realized, was inexplicably connected to a power source, and it extended into the unknown, feeding from somewhere beyond our comprehension. In this remote locale, far removed from roads, buildings, or human activity, a solitary powered desk stood as a cryptic testament to the mysteries that nature sometimes conceals. There were no ghostly apparitions, no startling revelations, just one enigmatic desk connected to the enigmatic depths of the forest, an encounter that left us both bewildered and awestruck. The camera of my mind snapped the memory of this inexplicable encounter, one that will forever remain etched in the annals of our shared adventures.